Yo, welcome back to the GM Podcast. I'm Miller.
I'm Garrison.
Obviously, Gavin is not here today, but he's on camp right now. So we're going to film our predictions for this wild card round and for this next round of the college football playoff. 4 teams left. So let's get started with that. Texas and – wow, I just had a brain fart.
Ohio State.
Texas and Ohio State. Who do you have winning that game?
Ohio State.
Okay.
I think Ohio State's defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
And if their offense is playing the way they're playing right now, I see them beating Texas with ease. I don't think Texas can – I haven't seen them finish a game cleanly, and that scares the mess out of me. But also, like, you could say Ohio State, even though they've been getting these big leads, like, they didn't finish the game great against Oregon. So,
yeah, but they started great enough.
Yeah, they started great enough. Like, that's the thing with Ohio State. I don't know what team you're going to get. Are we going to get the teams from the games from the regular season, or are we going to get this brand new playoff Ohio State?
Hopefully Ryan Day has these guys ready to play, and I think this game is a little bit more predictable than the other one.
Yeah.
I do have Ohio State in this game as well. Texas, I don't think can score with this team at all, and I think after the first half, this is going to be a close game. It might be tied, but once again, it just looks like an uninspired offense. I don't see anything special out of the rushing attack. I don't see anything special with the passing attack with Quinn Ewers at the helm, honestly. I should have lost last week against Arizona State. That was an egregious – I don't know what they were doing. Yeah. I mean, you literally just nothing over top. That can't happen. But, yeah, they should have lost last week against Arizona State.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can't see a world where Texas scores enough points to beat this team.
Yeah, I can't either.
At all. And Quinn Ewers, man, I wish they would switch to Arch Manning. I don't know why. Like, the national championship is happening right now. Like, I feel like that should be a change. Like, you just got to be bold and make it like that. That's what it should be. But yeah,
the only thing I'll say is I think Texas might have a better coach, and that's the only thing.
That's very true.
That's the only thing that
but
really scares me.
I'm not really sure about that. I mean, he didn't necessarily have his guys ready to. He didn't have his guys as ready to play.
But I would say they were ready. I don't think they finished games well. Like, if you watch the first, half of that Texas-Arizona State, you're thinking, okay, Texas is in control. Like, this could get out of hand
But I absolutely think that matters, especially because they're not going to be up like they were against Arizona State in that first half. That's just it's not going to happen.
No, they're not.
So, and Ohio State having the number one pass defense in the country, you have to be able to do something else, and I don't think they'll be able to.
100%.
So yeah, I'm going with Ohio State in that one.
Yeah.
Penn State, Notre Dame. Who do you have?
I'm still rocking with Notre Dame.
Okay.
That's my pick. I'm rolling with it. 2 more. I think they've got the whole thing.
Yeah. But both teams are a little banged up, but Abdul Carter is playing. Jeremiah Love is playing.
Yep.
So we're gonna. I'm very excited for this game. I think this might be the best game of the playoffs. 100%. I actually had. Well, I had Oregon, and then they got mollywopped. But I had Penn State as my second favorite team in this playoff, and I think they will win this game. I think they are a little bit more explosive offensively than Notre Dame is. I think they're a little bit more battle-tested than Notre Dame is, and I think they're a little bit more rested than Notre Dame is after a hard-fought game against Georgia. Even though the score didn't look like it, that them Georgia boys are still Georgia boys.
Yeah.
So I think the Penn State guys will be ready to play. I think Drew Aller has had a little bit more time. He's been playing great football as of late as well. So, yeah, and Nick Singleton as well has been playing great football.
I think the biggest key to this game is Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's going to be a matchup. You've got him going up against a pretty dominant pass defense out of Notre Dame, top 5 in all of college football.
Absolutely.
And you look at their defense, they've got, especially in the secondaries, they've got All-Americans everywhere.
Yeah. And
so my question is, will he produce the same as he did against Boise? Will he produce the same as he has in the past? And even if he doesn't, even if he still produces, will he be slowed down? I think it's going to be the biggest thing, because I feel like if Penn State has to rely on their run game against this Notre Dame team, I think they lose.
Yeah. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But I will say, as far as vibes go, I think Notre Dame might have the best vibes in the playoff. And argue with me if you want to. Obviously, resume, you do have to take that into account. But Marcus Freeman might be the best coach left in the playoff, or the coach I trust the most, at least. So
no, 100%. And I think, again, it's crazy to me the amount of doubt on this team.
Yeah.
And I think it really is masked by that NIU law. Everyone goes back to it. You look at their schedule, it's like, who do they play?
NIU.
NIU. How'd
you lose that game?
How'd you lose that game? But then they just beat the SEC champs.
Yeah.
And I never in that fourth quarter was like,
you were never worried.
I was never worried, which we watched the Georgia Tech-Georgia game, arguably one of the best games of the year.
Absolutely.
And Georgia Tech's up by 2 touchdowns, and I'm sitting there like, bro, this game's not over.
Yeah, and it's hard to say, like, it's hard to judge strength of schedule this year, especially with just some of the games that have happened. Georgia's the biggest example. Georgia comes back against Alabama. Like, just the games they've played in that were close. Georgia Tech was a close game that nobody expected it to be. Well, people expected it to be close because it's Georgia Tech, Georgia. But and then it's hard to predict. But once again, Notre Dame does have the best vibes. But I am going to ride with Drew Aller and Tyler Warren in this one. Let's get on to the wild card round of the NFL. Let's go. We're gonna talk about spreads as well. So okay. I want you to tell me who you think is gonna obviously cover or not. Let's go with let's talk about the Ravens game first. Because they had a 10-point spread in this one. Favoring the Ravens. Favoring the Ravens. And I wanted to know how you felt about that.
Dude,
Steelers fan, by the way.
Huge Steelers fan, by the way. I love this matchup. Like, I love this matchup.
Of course.
Dude, please give us the Ravens in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, the most interesting stat to me is that you look at Lamar against the Steelers, like, over his whole career.
Yeah.
You know he's more likely to throw an interception than he is to score a touchdown on the Steelers?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like, average passer rating is 73.
And it's a double whammy because it's in the playoffs.
And it's in the playoffs, which, by the way, they're 1-3 against us in the playoffs. We own them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin might not win a lot of playoff games, but he sure does beat the Ravens.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not really – I love this matchup for them.
Yeah.
I think they're very good at running the football. I think we're very good at stopping the run.
Yeah.
So, I think we match up well on that end.
Yeah.
And I think what it's really going to come down to is – Russ and George, can we get on the same page?
Please.
Like that is some of the worst. Last week was some of the worst I've seen George Pickens play.
Oh no, that was the worst game I've seen by a receiver, a number one receiver, maybe ever.
And I think he has some of the best hands in the league.
He has he might have the best talent in the league.
And last week, I don't know if he had Vaseline on his hand. I don't know what was going on, but he just left his hands in the locker room. I don't know. Like it was just, and which is like it's fine because again. It got us to this matchup, which I love. And it's prime time. You're getting one of the biggest rivalries in football on Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah.
And I think the way this playoff has been set up, with the way seeding works and everything, I think this is going to be one hell of a playoff. And I'm super excited about it.
Absolutely. So as 10-point dogs, that's what are we doing?
Yeah.
Who's making those lines? I don't think they have fallen off that bad.
No.
What I will say, I was actually, and you know this, I was a big believer in the Steelers after they lost to the Chiefs.
Yep.
Because they had lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are arguably the best team in the NFC.
Yep.
They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, who are arguably the best team in the NFL, and the Ravens, who those might be the best 3 teams in the NFL. So I wouldn't overreact. And the score doesn't say they were in all of those games, but they were absolutely in all of those games at a certain point.
Not to mention, all 3 of those games were played in 16 days.
Exactly. 11 days. It was 11 days. 11? It was 11 days. They played all 3 games in 11 days.
Which is absurd.
And now, that being said, I do feel very much worse about them after this Bengals game because that was atrocious. That was an atrocious showing by a team that needed to win a football game, and that's what I am scared of. I do have the Ravens winning this game by about 3 points, though. I would definitely shrink this spread, but this is not a good position for the Ravens. And people don't talk about that. People just talk about how bad the Steelers have been, how they've been 0-4 in their last 4 games. But this is a horrible position for the Steelers. Once again, Lamar Jackson, the only thing we say about Lamar Jackson, he doesn't show up in the playoffs. Well, it's the playoffs. Doesn't play great against the Steelers. Well, it's the Steelers. So now we get to see Lamar versus the Steelers in the playoffs. If he does win this game, this is a big win for Lamar Jackson, even as favorites. If we see Lamar Jackson play great in this game, we might have to start talking about them making the Super Bowl after that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is, the 3 losses before the Bengals, I can deal with that. That's whatever. We look at our schedule and we say, okay, we can get one of those, we're good.
Yeah.
We didn't, but we get to the Bengals game. I'm not so concerned about it just because I feel like our defense did show up when they needed to. I feel like coaching, for some degree, did show up. I wish we would have called a timeout on that last drive when Russ got sacked.
And as bad as it was, if Freiermuth catches that ball, you're giving Chris Boswell, the best kicker in football, a chance to win.
100%, and that's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't like we lost to the Bengals. First of all, Bengals one of the worst defenses in all of the NFL.
Yeah,
but like I'm gonna say the aura of that team, the chance.
No one wanted to see them.
The chance going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You still have arguably the best QB and wide receiver in the league this year.
The best.
Yeah. Like, you're still going up against that, and your defense, held them.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
they
really
kept them in check, for sure.
Yeah. And regardless or not, like you said, you catch that pass, you have an opportunity. So, I really think it's one-sided. I think if Russ and Pickens can figure it out, I think we're a really good team. But can they figure it out?
And since we're speaking about that, I think letting Mike Tomlin go would be one of the biggest mistakes of all time. And this is why maybe it is time for a change as far as culture. But once, like you said, that didn't seem like a bad coach game. More on Arthur Smith, if anything, than Mike Tomlin. Mm-hmm. Because once again, if George Pickens doesn't have literally, I think, 4 drops, and Pat Freiermuth catches that ball, we're talking about a win. And the difference between their winning streak when Russ initially came in and this last 4-game winning streak is simply execution. Yeah. Simply George Pickens not running his fade route against the Chiefs so the safety can cover Pat Freiermuth. Simply Najee Harris dropping a pitch against the Philadelphia Eagles when they were only down 7. Against the Ravens, Russell Wilson throwing a pick 6 when that game was still in the balance.
Also the fumble in the red zone.
Exactly.
The red zone offense has been horrendous.
It's been horrendous.
But we're getting there.
That being said, you never want to bet on a team that can't execute.
Yeah.
But they have shown flashes of they can do it. And against the Baltimore Ravens, I would have no faith in the Pittsburgh Steelers right now if they played the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. Hell, if they played the Los Angeles Chargers, I would have no faith. But the fact that they drew the Baltimore Ravens in the first round is an absolute blessing to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and maybe they can make something happen. Once again, I'm not picking it because they haven't executed for 4 straight weeks.
You'll pick the spread, though.
But I will definitely pick the spread. That's the best bet of the week.
Yeah.
If you're a betting man, obviously. Well, NCAA athlete right here, so he doesn't do that.
Yeah, but even you look at both teams, defensively, the way Pittsburgh Steelers play, you're not going to get those differentials unless you're playing against some Mahomes.
And how much do we really expect the Ravens to score in this game? Do people think they're going to put up 34 again? Because that's straight up not happening.
And we talked about this in our group chat the other day. It's dude, the first 3 quarters of this last week for the Ravens, I would argue was not even close to the. And
we don't know how healthy Zay Flowers is.
We don't know how healthy Zay Flowers is, and they were not great drives.
No,
if that defensive touchdown isn't there,
exactly,
you're dealing with a one
I'm talking about 7-3 probably at halftime.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I wasn't that impressed, and you play your guys. I don't know. We'll see though.
We will see, and I think that has to be at least a top 3 game of the weekend for me. Chargers and Texans. Cover that real quick. Who do you have winning this game?
I got the Chargers.
Okay.
I just think that I feel so bad for the Texans just because they're so depleted.
Yeah.
Especially at the receiver position.
Yeah.
I feel like we jinxed it because we sat in these chairs at the beginning of the year and we were like, dude, this might be the best wide receiver room potentially in the league.
Yeah.
And because you were looking at, they had the 3, and then they got Mechie. They had
guys.
Yeah, and they had some vets. Robert Woods isn't what he used to be, but they still they have 6 good receivers.
They
have 6 good receivers, and now we're talking about with injuries where they're at now, and it's dude,
And what I will say, it feels like, and I see a world where the Texans can win this game, but it does feel like they're ready for their season to be over a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's felt like they've just been punched a little bit too many times this year. And for your point, it kind of just shows if you don't build in the trenches first and you worry about all this other stuff, it's not going to work out. Mm-hmm. You can make arguments that Tank Dell wouldn't be injured right now if that O-line was at all even manageable for C.J. Stroud to throw behind. Mm-hmm. And Nico Collins and Tank Dell weren't the passing game wasn't the problem last year, but you chose to go get Stephon Diggs, and while I'm not saying that's a bad thing, you didn't build any offensive line for C.J. Stroud. And against this Chargers defense, I have trouble seeing them score points this weekend. Mm-hmm. And The Chargers have been hot as of late offensively. They found Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnson just had 8 for 134 on a random Week 18 game. Yep. So I do have the Chargers in this one. I think Jim Harbaugh will be a little bit more ready, and I don't think it's an indictment on the Texans. Mm-hmm. But once again, it's really a vibes thing here, and obviously it will be in Houston. So that does. I think this game will be extremely close, and honestly. Yeah.
But if it's close, I like Harbaugh.
I like the coach and the quarterback right now. Mm-hmm. Right now. And maybe next year, because going into this year, me and Gavin both had C.J. Stroud as the second best quarterback because of the fact he had Diggs, Collins, and Tank Dell, and Dalton Schultz, and Hutchinson, and Mechie, and all of those, Robert Woods. Like, that's a crazy skill group. Yeah. That's an insane skill group. And Joe Mixon and Damian Pierce in the backfield. Yeah. And once again, that shows you how important the offensive line actually is. But yeah, the spread on that one is 3. I would probably take the Chargers on that one just because that's not a large spread, and that's probably about what the spread should be. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers in that one as well. So by the way, did you take the Steelers to win?
I did take the Steelers to win.
Okay, well, all right, we'll see. Broncos and Bills, 1:00 Sunday. Bills are favored by 8.5 points in this one. Who do you have winning?
What's the weather in this game?
The weather?
Yeah, we got snow.
I don't know how to really look that up on ESPN.
There's a weather storm up there, isn't there? Hold up.
Who would that favor?
I feel like that favored Buffalo.
Okay, I'm just what situation would not favor Buffalo in this game?
It doesn't even matter. I'm not even gonna look because I got Buffalo by 30. Like,
do you really? Okay,
dude. Yeah. I look at this Denver team. And congrats, dude. You beat a Chiefs team that didn't play their guys.
Yeah.
Like, great. You beat them.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz. Wow.
But he didn't have nobody out there. That just felt like they were giving him I don't know.
Because
they didn't want to see the Bengals.
They didn't want to see the Bengals. They didn't want to see the Bengals. But anyways, what I'm saying is like, dude, this team could have clinched a playoff spot 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they've played not great. I mean, you think you criticize the Steelers for their loss to the Bengals, like. And the Steelers are playing the Ravens.
I wouldn't do that, though. I wouldn't do that.
Bro, they're playing the Bills.
Yeah, let's talk about expectations. Well, now, I do have the Bills winning this handily because of the talent differential as far as quarterbacks go. But I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of scared. Because Sean Payton versus Sean McDermott, I'm easily giving the edge to Sean Payton in that one. And this Buffalo defense is not great. No. It's not great in any stretch of the imagination. I do expect this game at halftime to be very close.
Oh, yeah.
And Josh Allen will win this game by himself because it's Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. But I do want to see if this game is close, even if it's close, I'm going to have even more questions about Sean McDermott and if he should be in that locker room anymore. Because I've already had questions. And once again, I do feel like it's a sneaky trap game, and I think we're going to get to another sneaky trap game that you probably are going to agree with. But I do have the Bills winning this game. And the spread is 8.5, and I will take the 8.5, but they're going to get that 8.5 a little late. That's going to be a fourth quarter 8.5 points.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Dude, Denver's defense has got some dudes.
They're legit, and those skill guys on Buffalo aren't the greatest. And that's what I'm scared. Once again, Josh Allen is going to win this game because his talent is so much better than Bo Nix right now. It's not a question. And Bo Nix, first off, this is what I'll say about Bo Nix, okay? Bo Nix has completely overexceeded my expectations. I still don't think Bo Nix is great. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't think Bo Nix is a top 10 quarterback in the conference. I don't know. I would probably have to do the math on that. Yeah. But, I mean, I would probably.
Well, AFC's loaded with QBs. Well,
I would probably take Bo Nix over Tua, though. But that's my bias against Tua. Yeah. So, I do have Buffalo winning this game. But the reason I'm scared, once again, is that defense for Denver is legit. And Sean Payton is a legit coach. And with house money, this is a game where Broncos have house money. No one expected them to win 10 games. Probably not win half of that.
Yeah.
Even though they were 8-9 last year, no one expected them to get there with a rookie quarterback. So, once again, the Broncos are playing with house money with good vibes after beating the Chiefs 1,000-0. So just watch out, Bills. Don't go into this because it would be such a Bills thing to do to lose this game. Is my point. Well, maybe not really because the Bills love beating up on kind of cupcakes. But
yeah,
I I don't like the vibes in Buffalo right now. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
That's fair. Especially especially after this last week. Like, I don't care who you're playing.
It's the Patriots.
It's the Patriots.
And honestly, it was probably best for them because a divisional opponent, you just got them out of the number 1 pick, so it works out. But that Buffalo Ravens game is going to be the best game of the playoffs, unless Detroit and Philly play, to where that will probably be the best game of the playoffs. But yeah, let's move on. Packers at Eagles, 4:30 on Sunday.
Is this your trap game?
Yes, that's what I was talking about. Okay. Philly is favored by 4.5 in this one.
There's a reason that spread is the way it is.
Yeah. So I'm gonna speak first on this one. Obviously, being a Philly fan, I'm scared. I am scared because Green Bay was my Super Bowl pick before the season. Now, what I will say, Green Bay is 0-5 against the top NFC dogs this year. Christian Watson is out. That eliminates an entire portion of their offense. So I do think our defense is good enough to keep up with them, especially resting starters last week. That was incredibly needed. But Jalen Hurts is still on concussion protocol.
Yeah.
After 2.5, what are we doing? Like, I get concussion should be taken seriously. But what concussion is taking this seriously in the NFL to where he's missing 2.5 weeks? Now, the rest could be good for him. But the rust might be apparent. And I love Jalen Hurts. I don't think this is a situation where Jalen Hurts is just going to underperform, but he could definitely go out there and be a rusty quarterback coming off of 3 weeks in a playoff game.
Also, no practice up to this point.
And
if it is, it's like very slight.
Tomorrow he needs to be cleared, and we're filming this on Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not cleared by Wednesday, I have serious concerns about this game because one thing I will say is I love Nick Sirianni more than most, but Matt LaFleur is a better coach. I'm not here to dispute that at all. So to think that the Green Bay Packers, who 10 years ago came into Philly and beat Philly in a postseason game, can't do it again, they can definitely do it again.
So if Hurts doesn't play, what's your...
If Hurts doesn't play?
Yeah.
I got Philly by 1 point. Like, that's how scared that, like... But if Hurts does play, I think it's going to be another game where in the second half we do kind of pull away because we're going to punch this team in the mouth. Personnel-wise, they're just not there. And once again, they've lost to the Lions twice, lost to the Vikings twice, lost to the Eagles once. Their best win is the Houston Texans. So the Green Bay Packers have no really sweat equity with wins this year. But once again, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, I don't think he's played great in the playoffs last year against the 49ers. Wild card demon, yes.
So.
And low-key, the Packers are in a situation where they're kind of playing with house money too. And it's crazy to say that because of the expectations that they did have coming into the season. Mm-hmm. But they're definitely playing with house money right now, and I'm scared.
Also, don't forget, they probably played in one of the... Would you say the best division in football?
They did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Best
but I would have liked to see them win one of those games, though.
No, yeah.
And obviously, the first game against Minnesota, they didn't have Jordan Love they definitely did have Jordan Love, and they were getting beat like 28-0, but they came back. Yeah, I don't know. And as a Philly fan, I don't want y'all to think I'm scared or nothing. Like I'm scared of this team. They're still going to the Super Bowl, but Green Bay isn't the team I wanted to draw. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no.
At all. So we can move on. You have Philly in that game, by the way?
Dude, this one's tough.
You got to make a pick if you think it's tough.
I think if Hurts plays, yes. If he doesn't, no.
Okay.
I got the Packers.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. That's absolutely fair.
I think it's all dependent on that. Let me actually rephrase that. If Hurts doesn't practice by Friday, I still have the Packers.
Yeah. And I don't even think that's crazy, bro, because I'm just... Why is he not practiced yet? Like, that's the only thing about this game that's just shaky to me. Like, get this guy out on the practice field, bro. And I think he'll be fine because, once again, Jalen Hurts does live up to these big-time moments. Mm-hmm. But there's a rust that's just going to be there.
Yeah, but also, like, y'all's backups have looked really good.
Yeah. I'd rather play Tanner McKee than Kenny Pickett, by the way.
Oh, 100%. As a former Steeler, I despise that man.
Wait, he was a former Steeler? I didn't even know that.
Kenny Pickett?
Oh, I'm talking about Tanner. Oh.
No, Kenny Pickett.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Kenny Pickett either.
Mr. Throw it with the glove, small hands. Yeah. The draft report was not on his side, and we still picked him.
Yeah, that's definitely Steelers football, right?
Hometown not favorite.
By the way, just side conversation. What do you want to do at quarterback moving forward?
Okay, so there's been rumblings about potentially like trying to trade for a guy like Kyler Murray, who the Cardinals might be trying to move on from.
Yeah.
I would love to keep Russ, but at all costs, you cannot let Fields walk.
I would trade Fields for a good amount of.
If he's gonna leave, trade him, but do not let him walk.
Because I don't think in this system right now he's a force multiplier. I don't think he can take this team and get it over the hump. I do think Fields in the right system with a Shane Steichen can be a great quarterback, but I don't think in this system. I'm gonna be real. Like I don't think he can excel, bro. Y'all haven't had a quarterback excel. I think there's a misconception of how good Big Ben was when AB was in his. I think AB was that good that he uplifted Big Ben's latter years of his career. I don't think y'all have had a great quarterback for at least the past decade.
Yeah.
So I would definitely keep Russ because I think Russ's play has been over. What's the word? It's been crucified too much over the last 4 weeks.
No, yeah, and I think the last 4 weeks also like. If it all works out this year, it could be a blessing in disguise because Russ's value might go down to the point where we can afford to possibly keep both.
Absolutely.
Like, I would love to keep both because I think Justin Fields in the future could be something for us.
Yeah.
But, like, it's going to be tough to move on from Russ if we don't get anything better.
Exactly.
Like, but again, like, if I had to choose between the two in the position our team is right now, I would choose, like, for the future. If Russ can't get, like, it depends on what Russ does this week, this weekend, to be honest with you. Like, I got to see what he does in the playoffs. But I like Justin Fields for the future.
And the concerning thing about y'all is this is crazy to say, and you never want to coach a team like this. But for Mike Tomlin always winning these games, there's a reason y'all don't have a quarterback. I'm going to just put it like that. Like, y'all are never high enough in the draft to take a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Y'all have been fumbling around quarterbacks these last couple. And Kenny Pickett, what was he, the 20th pick? Something like that? 10th? 15th?
16 or something 16,
like that. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, they're not going to be in a position to draft a great quarterback if Mike Tomlin remains there because he's winning games. And I think Mike Tomlin has been winning more games than that roster should have won.
No, 100%.
I love Mike Tomlin. And I think these past 4 weeks, once again, there's a talent detriment or difference between the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Eagles, and the Steelers. 100%. So, yeah, I don't know. I think.
Yeah.
All right, but let's move on. 8 o'clock Sunday night. This is probably the best game of the first round. Commanders at Buccaneers. Spread is 3.
I disagree, but okay.
You disagree?
I think it's the closest game.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely the closest.
I don't know.
Who do you have?
I like Washington's defense better. I like Washington every mostly skill position. I love Washington. I like O'Quinn. I like Dan. Like I like the coaching matchup here. Dude, I don't want to bet against Baker Mayfield.
Is that it?
Dude, no, but like
bro,
no, but we say this every year.
I'm over here thinking you're about to agree with me because
we say this every year with Baker, and it's this whole doubt thing of him. But like, Baker's been kind of nasty in the playoffs. If you look at it statistically, like, granted, like there are some games like, but he's normally playing teams that are like roster wise are 10 times better when he's losing these games.
Okay, so his playoff runs, and I'll give it to you. No, actually, I won't give it to you. I'll take it back. I think his playoff performance has been a little bit overstated, and this is why. Last year, he played the Philadelphia Eagles, whose defense was absolutely the worst defense in football at that point in time. Mm-hmm. And then the year with the Browns that you're referring to, he beat your Steelers.
No, I'm scarred.
Who were real.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's engraved in my brain.
Now, the game against the Chiefs, I think he did play good. The game after, where he played the Chiefs, I think he did play good with the Browns. And then against the Lions last year, he also kept them in the game.
Yeah.
But he also threw the game-losing pick. So I'm a little concerned. And if we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield, I'm excited for Jaden Daniels in his first playoff game against a team that he already played and kind of played good against for his first game in the NFL. And it's hard to beat a team twice. Once again, like you said, I like the coaching matchup. Tampa Bay, I have the stats right here. Their defense is extremely. They're fourth ranked in rushing defense.
Yeah.
But what is the weakness of the Commanders' offense? Running the football.
Yeah.
Other than Jaden Daniels, so that's not really a worry in my mind. The Bucs are 29th in pass defense. So I don't know. I think I do. And if there was a year for upsets, I did some research the other day. I think the first year of the 7-team playoff, there were 4 upsets. Mm-hmm. After that, it's been like 1, 2, 1, something like that. So there always is an upset. I'm taking the Commanders in this game. And once again, I'm excited to see Jaden Daniels in this game. I think the Buccaneers have kind of been reeling. And the Buccaneers are just an extremely streaky team. I don't know what it is. Because they beat Carolina 48-14, and Carolina's been playing pretty good football the last 2 months. But they lose to the Cowboys. And then they have a difficult game against the New Orleans Saints. But they beat the hell out of the Chargers a couple weeks ago. So it is tough judging this Bucs team. But, bro.
And I'm with you. I'm kind of split on it, but like at the same time, it's a home game for them to me, and I also think that I hate betting on rookie quarterbacks in the playoffs.
100%.
If I'm split, I'm gonna go against a rookie every time.
That makes sense. 100% makes sense. But Jaden Daniels, man, and it was funny. I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. Me, Gav, and Noah were on the phone the other day, and Washington is playing the Cowboys, and they took out Jaden Daniels early. I'm like, what are they doing? Like, are they trying to lose this game? Like, are they disrespecting Philly right now? Philly's locked into this 2 seed. If they lose this game and Green Bay wins, they're trying to play Philly. Obviously, Chicago ends up making that kick, so it doesn't matter. And Terry McLaurin catches that fade ball in the corner, so that doesn't matter. But at the end, I was like, low-key, bro, I just didn't want to see Jaden Daniels. Like, I really just didn't want to see Jaden Daniels again.
And you know what's crazy is, like, I picked them at the beginning of the year to win that division.
Yeah.
Like, I like the team, and they've made even additions at the deadline that are like, okay, like they're a decent
Marshawn
team.
Lattimore versus Mike Evans, part 50?
Is he healthy? Is he good?
I think he's playing this week. Yeah, I think he is.
Again, great. Like I think the two teams, the way it matched up, could have been. Like I said, dude, the way the seeding worked out, there's a lot of really good matchups.
I think every single matchup in the wild card round, it's going to be close games.
Yeah.
The one that I would assume would be a blowout is probably the Bills. But once again, we never know.
Yep.
We never know. So, all right, is that the first one we've disagreed? Well, no, we've disagreed on the Steelers and Rams too, or Steelers and Ravens too.
Barely.
So,
but yeah,
yeah. You don't know how confident you are in that pick. And then last game, Vikings, Rams. Who do you have in this game?
So I think it was last week we were here talking about picks of who we thought was going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And
I said the Rams. Scratch that because
what? Why? You can't do that.
No. Because I can. Because I legitimately in my head was like, I get the Rams unless they play the Vikings. I just think the Vikings matchup. I think it was the worst matchup the Rams could have possibly got.
That's what you thought.
I do, but like.
So you expected them to win a Super Bowl, go into Philly.
But granted, like here's my thing is I should have seen that because they were going to play Detroit or they were going to play Minnesota. My thing with Detroit was the defense was so depleted. I was like, all right, the Rams draw them. Like, yeah. But dude, after watching that Minnesota defense live last week, and they got 30 points scored against them, and I'm still like, yo, this defense is.
No, they're legit.
They're legit.
I agree with you on this one. I do have Minnesota. I think they match up extremely well, and the Rams. People love the Rams, and I understand why because I love everything about the Rams that everyone else loves. QB, Puka, who is, in my opinion, a top 3 receiver, and Sean McVay. Yes, a young defense. Yes, they still have Cooper Kupp. This team has not had a good game other than playing the Buffalo Bills, who have a bottom-tier defense, I would say, a below-average defense. I mean, they played close against the Jets. They've been playing close against all of these teams. I'm concerned about that back end for the Rams, who haven't been great. I think they're 26th in pass defense.
Yeah.
Against Justin Jefferson. I don't trust that man-on-man coverage. They might try to come out after Sam Darnold. Crazy, but my thing is, Sam Darnold, while he was extremely atrocious and might have played himself out of a bag against Detroit, I think that was more on Detroit's end. More on Aaron Glenn's end of his coaching and what he made Sam Darnold see that made him uncomfortable than Sam Darnold playing bad. I think Sam Darnold is going to play good Monday.
Had him seeing ghosts again.
Nah, literally. I mean, I was mad at Sam Darnold. I'm not going to lie. Like, just the misses he had were egregious.
I wanted that game to be better, but it was also cool to see Jameer get 4.
And Jameer, that team is electric. And Detroit is going to be in every game because they're going to be able to score.
Speaking of which, did you see the news on Montgomery today?
He's coming back in the divisional round.
Yeah.
And if our picks are correct, or if my pick is correct, they would be playing the Commanders. In your world, they'd be playing the Vikings. Or the Packers, if the Packers win.
You see Dan Campbell at the end of the game?
We're going to see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
And that definitely might happen. And
if my glorious king Dan Campbell says that they're going to see him in 2 weeks, I believe
that guy.
I love Dan Campbell
too. I'm not going to lie.
I'm
not going to lie. But yeah, I don't see the Rams back end holding up with Justin Jefferson and those guys. And this defense is electric. The Rams' first half offense is the worst in the league. And against that Vikings defense, I just don't see it. Obviously, the Rams did beat the Vikings in their early matchup. Sam Darnold, face mask, no call. I just don't see it happening again. I just don't see it. I don't think the Vikings were as good of a team as they are now back then, which is crazy to say because I thought they were just started off hot and people would be able to figure them out. But as I've watched these games, I mean, that was a blowout against Detroit, but it really wasn't. If you watched the game, you saw why this Minnesota team has been so good and why they are 14-3.
Dude, but don't get me wrong, McVay is great. McVay's a great coach, but I'm not gonna say the coaching difference is not.
Kevin O'Connell is the best coach in football this year.
Yeah,
this year, other than Andy Reid.
Yeah,
because 15-2. But
Mr. Bundleruski.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell, obviously, you could throw in there. But
yeah,
Kevin O'Connell should be the coach of the year. And I don't think there's a – he drew up opportunities in the red zone. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold just missed.
Yeah.
He just missed. That's what it was. So, once again, good picks.
If Detroit gets to the Super Bowl, that leaves them with potentially Hutch and Montgomery being back.
If Hutch comes back, that's going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
All right, one last question for this video that I wanted to ask you.
All right.
So, head coaching vacancies. What do you think is the best spot right now out of all of the teams? There's Chicago, New England, Las Vegas, Jacksonville. Trying to think of the other two. The Saints and the Jets. What do you think is the best job out of all of those?
And you said, okay. What are the Jaguars picking?
That's a great question. Don't know. Probably top 7.
I'm always going to go with when you're picking teams like that you want to go like be a coach for. The first thing I would always say is quarterback. Which is why I think Jacksonville's got the upper hand a little bit.
That's what I said too.
Just because you have Trevor Lawrence, you don't have to search.
And you have a number 1 receiver.
One of the most worrisome things for Carolina was okay, if Bryce Young doesn't work out, that just sets us back 4 years.
Absolutely.
For Panthers fans, I know that's the big fear. It's really, you can't win if you don't have a quarterback. Yeah. And I think you can go somewhere and have someone who's proven.
Yeah.
Like Lawrence, he's good.
He's good. I think he's been way overhated in these.
Yeah. Or you can bet on a rookie quarterback, or I think Caleb Williams will be an extraordinary talent, but I also
See, this is the thing about Caleb Williams that blows my mind. I understand that he is a great thrower of the football, and I see the talent just like everybody else does. But when you look at the league and the hierarchy of quarterbacks, who do you expect him to be better than? As far as Mahomes, do you expect him to be better than Mahomes? Do you expect him to be better than Lamar? Do you expect him to be better than Josh Allen? Justin Herbert? Mm-hmm. Do you expect him to be better than Joe Burrow? That's my thing. I see the talent as well, but I don't. Jaden Daniels, do you expect him to be better after this year? With the organizations, and that absolutely matters. And I think Jacksonville is the best job for a guy like Ben Johnson, 100%, because when you go to the Raiders, you got a whole culture to change at that point.
Yeah.
That's their thing. The Bears, you got to have that defensive culture has to stay intact. New England, their GM is incapable, whoever it is incapable of building a good roster.
Yeah.
They have no offensive talent whatsoever, and they haven't since Brady.
Yeah.
And then the Jets. Where do you go if you're the Jets? Like, it's not. I don't think that's a great job.
And that's the thing is, like, after this whole Aaron Rodgers stint, like, I'm done even believing in it. Like, I think that some organizations can be just run to the point where they're just going to lose.
And the Jets haven't been good in my lifetime. Obviously, I mean, they had that Rex Ryan year where they beat the Patriots.
Interviewed him today, by the way.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The fact, I don't know why they think that's going to solve their problems. Mm-hmm. And I think that's an atrocious hire if they do go that route when Aaron Glenn is going to be on the market.
Dude,
it blows my mind.
That, but, like, also, like, dude, like, Ben Johnson
should be a hot candidate everywhere, but Ben Johnson, I don't want to see Ben Johnson taint his name by going to these poopy organizations.
And no, and I completely agree with you. So here's my thing is, would you say, I think that the coaching pool to pull from this year is pretty loaded in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
I think there's a lot of names out there. So my thing is, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're tired of the above average.
Yeah.
And you can get a Ben Johnson. Dude, are you like, is this the year that you flip it? That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think that's the only reason they would get rid of Mike Tomlin. Because I think Mike Tomlin's loved in Pittsburgh.
And once again, that's not an indictment on Mike Tomlin.
No, I just think that, like, at this point, first of all, the team's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, they've got pieces all around. And you can build off that as well. Like, I think you're a couple pieces in the draft away from being a complete team.
Absolutely.
And I feel like with the coaching vacancy, like if you had a coaching vacancy, like the options you have, the candidates, like if they were going to get rid of Tomlin, this would be the year to do it.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's the only reason I would ever get rid of Tomlin is because it's like the candidates are that good this year.
How do you get better? How do you get better next year? Yeah. I mean, if I'm the Steelers, I'm throwing an absolute bag at Darnold. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
I think every team without a quarterback should be throwing a bag at Darnold just because, like, Darnold might be benefiting off of Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. Sure, but you do have to take that risk. You have to take that risk. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, if you're the who needs a quarterback?
But is that bag that much more
the Colts
better? Is that bag that much better than Russell Wilson?
Yes.
Younger,
more mobile, can see over the line of scrimmage at this point in his career.
See, but that's
good deep ball thrower.
That's why I like a Ben Johnson. I want someone to come in who can develop an offense and actually, like, score points.
Yeah,
like
it makes it.
Like,
Arthur Smith.
Don't get me wrong. I'll take the wins, bro. I'll take the wins. Like, we win some games we're not supposed to. We beat the Ravens, didn't even score a touchdown.
Yeah,
that's not fun football to watch. No. And it's also not like football that I can be like, oh yeah, like
we're going to the Super Bowl.
Game. We dominated that. No, it's always I'm grinding my teeth at every single Steelers game.
Absolutely.
And granted, like Mike Tomlin, he figures it out. But like, dude, like, give me a breather one week, dude. Give me a breather.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Gav will be back soon. Obviously, Garrison will continue to get on the podcast once in a while. But
absolutely.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out.